What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Relic Roots podcast, where we dig deep to reach high. And of course, as always, progress through action. I am your co host, Payron Baxter.
I'm your co-host Ram Sandoval. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you, everyone, for joining. If you're listening or watching, like, subscribe, share, follow.
Do something.
Yeah.
Put it on a carrier pigeon. What's up, man? Some folks, our Sunday episodes are usually a little more compact episodes, really short and sweet compared to our Thursday episodes. But Ram, I tell you, man, it's embarrassing sometimes to feel to be an American. Um, the most recent advent in our household is, we're fans of the K-pop Demon Hunters movie, and it's almost embarrassing to be that as it is to be a CEO of astronomer and to be with the head of HR. So it's really embarrassing right now. Is that feeling? It's almost like man, I'm American. It's almost like you're swaying to Coldplay. You're swaying to Coldplay. You're like, yeah, that's how it feels to be all of us. I think that's why I was so resonant. Have you seen that clip of the CEO?
I have seen the clip of CEO and in terms of the K-pop. My girls did watch that. My oldest loves it. So,
Oh, I love it. I personally
um,
love it. I went for a run, and that was my entire playlist was the entire soundtrack. Yeah,
yeah.
Your Idol. I will bang that all day, and I feel like the Clips need to do a remix on that. That's how good that song is.
So yeah, the CEO getting caught up.
Boot
That's
up,
that's
boot
been
up.
that's been the story, one of the stories of the week. But
Hey man, he was
um,
swaying. He had D on B. He had his D on her B. I mean, that's that like, again. I said it before, like they were swaying like I like you. So, but yeah, man, that's where we're at in pop culture. People could talk about a CEO getting fired more than we talk about a child being dismembered in Gaza, or 16 million people being kicked off Medicaid, or thousands of children losing SNAP benefits. I mean, or anything. We are in an entertainment society, which is what America's actually founded on, to be an investment for corporations to constantly keep those who are in the working class to be distracted. So it is very much American for us to be talking about the CEO.
yeah, well, people always talk about the media. Media shows it, media this, media that. But the media, the reason why the media shows it is because it gets clicks. It gets the attention of the people,
Hmm.
and people like to be entertained, and that's fair. But I think
But we
you can't
dumb. We
you
we
can't
dumb.
yeah, you can't just be entertained and use that as ignorant, to be ignorant and blissful, and especially in times like these here in America. So uh
Yeah, we're very dumb people though, and I think most people lean on those distractions, whether it be sports, whether it be music, whether it be CEOs having his D on be at a Coldplay concert or whatever, or K-pop Demon Hunters, self-admittedly. Those
yeah,
things can make you, but that's all they do, right? And the more you fill your day up with that, you're not reading, you're not talking to people, you're not
yeah.
growing.
Do you watch Love Island?
No, ironically, I took my son to get his haircut because my son, he's actually on an island right now. He's
No.
not with us. Ethan is in Saint Martin with his grandmother. I've never been to Saint Martin. I've never been there. And he's loving it. He got there yesterday. And so I walked in the barber shop, same barber I used to go to. Clearly, I don't go there anymore. But it's the same barber because black men, we go to the same barber. You know what I mean? No matter what. And the first thing I walk in, and like there's this young cat that we always talk movies and TV, movies and TV with. And the first thing he said, "Hey, yo, P, you watch Love Island?" And like everything I know about Love Island, Rom, is not due to my own like work or ethic or it's all been forced upon me. It's all been not to my own will. Everything I know about this show. So do you watch Love Island is the real question.
I don't. It came up last night. Rosalie asked if she said we should watch it, and I said I don't know about that, and she said no, like even couples like it, and so I'm like, I don't know. We haven't watched reality. I think we watched Big Brother one season like 10 years ago.
Oh God, damn.
There was a couple seasons of that I watched, and
You don't watch
she's like, do
Love is
you watch
Blind?
any reality show? No. I was like, I watched hip hop in Atlanta, hip hop or not,
Oh God, man.
no, Real Housewives of Atlanta, like for like
Jeez.
one or two seasons, and it was forced upon me, and then like something else, and so I don't really, yeah, I'm not really a reality
Hey,
TV.
in this household, Love is Blind is like our crack. and they crank that shit out like twice a year. And I mean, we because me and Liz, as most of our listeners know, we have two kids. We get like 30 minutes to an hour every night to watch something. So that's like our time. Like, okay, you want to watch a TV show? You want to watch start a movie? Because we know we don't get like an hour, but like it'll be an hour movie. We'll finish the next hour the next day. And let's say we're in the middle of a season of something else. It'll be like, oh, Love Is Blind is back on. Put that bad boy back on. Stop whatever else we watch and we back on that because it's trash television on Netflix, and that's us. But Love Is Blind, because I heard so much about it, but I turned on Peacock. The reason it turned me off, because again, we're a Love Is Blind family, and that's like 10 episodes, 10, 13 episodes. I go to Peacock, it's 37 episodes. Each episode is over an hour. I said, ain't no
That's
way. I said, ain't
crazy.
no way.
8 seasons. Wow.
I'm
Yeah,
good.
I
I'm
have no
good.
idea what's going on with that show, but
I mean, but most people are saying like like they're all kind of watching the most recent one, so it's season seven. But I'm like,
yeah.
look, either way, that's like 50 hours that I do not have in my life. Like we could do like half an hour increments. But I saw
Wow.
that the first episode's an hour 44. I said, nah, fam. I said I'll just catch up maybe the next one, maybe season eight. I'll get on that with it. But it's a daily show too. It's not because at first I thought it was like a 37-week show. It's a daily show, except for Wednesdays. It sounds like. So I'll catch up on season eight, folks.
Yeah, no, I can't do that. I started watching Ballard this weekend on Amazon Prime. It's a spinoff of Bosch, which I haven't watched, but it started
Mm.
off with Solange in the intro, and I was like, all right, cool. Like,
Okay. Okay.
so,
Let's launch.
so I was
Okay.
like, so I give it a time. It's decent. But how was your weekend? What did you do this weekend?
Man, in and out. I mean, again, we were down to one kid, so we were just doing a lot of stuff with Ava, all around town. We were in and out the house today. Just small stuff. We kind of forgot what it's like to have just one kid in the house. But I got back in the gym for the first time since May. As folks who listen to the show know, I was sick for like 3 weeks. Probably had COVID. Um, and my first day back in the gym was Saturday. And then I went for a run today outside in the heat.
Oh my god!
And yeah, when I came back in the crib, I collapsed onto the hardwoods, like
And
sweat pouring
what time
pouring
was this
down me.
at?
It actually wasn't that late. So that's why I thought I was going to beat the heat. It was like at 10:30,
Oh,
and I was
well,
like,
yeah, it is
okay,
pretty early.
I should be able to beat the heat, right? Man, I got out there.
Nah. it's
Folks
the,
driving by, I got my hands on my shorts, pulling them down.
it's like that yoga studio, well, hot works or something. I don't know. I'm like, man,
Oh
I don't
yeah,
need all
yeah,
that
but
extra
only
heat.
I'm embarrassed. But at least you're indoors with hot works. I was outside. People look at mommy. What's wrong with the man?
Yeah, I
He's dying, baby. He's dying.
yeah, I took the family to Southern Pecan,
Oh,
uh,
sounds quite
pecan, which
delicious.
is
Wait,
yeah.
hold on, real quick. Is it pecan or is it pecan? Because me and my wife get into this. She's from the South. And she says it's pecan. I'm from Pittsburgh, and I say it's pecan. You're from Chicago, Midwest.
I don't think
What
I
is
say anything consistently, to be honest. It could be, I could just
it?
depends. So, as we were walking in, my daughter was like, "What does that say?" And I was like, "Southern pecan." And my
You,
wife,
you,
I
you, you say
think,
both. Southern pecan pecan.
my wife was like, "It's pecan or something." I'm like, whatever. And
It's the nuts.
so that was good. Southern food, soul food, and my daughter, she wanted oysters, which is why we ended up there. Because ever since we went to Charleston, she's like,
She's an oyster queen.
yeah, I thought we were gonna get her to try it, and she's like, "Ugh, I don't like it."
High life, boo, high life.
She asked for. I know. I was like, she asked for another. So then she ordered. They proceeded to order uh, six, and even my youngest got in on it. She got one,
Mm.
and the oldest had already eaten four. My wife had one. So we said,
You
"Can
gotta
we
get
get
it.
the other six?"
I'm sorry, you gotta read it up
And
now.
they proceeded to eat all of them. The girls. So Rosalie had one. I had
Now,
none. I
does
don't
she
even
do
eat
it with the?
oysters.
Does she do it with the? Nah, I mean, I eat it every once in a while.
With the lemon.
Yeah, no, with the horseradish and the hot sauce.
They
How is
like it
the?
with the lemon, like a whole lot of lemon, and they were just kicking
Okay,
it
all
back.
right. Hey.
So
Some people like the cucumber pickle. That's all good.
yeah, yeah. I mean, look, that's good for them, but I don't know about me.
You ain't down
It
for
was
that.
like,
You ain't
I hope
down.
they know
You
how.
ain't down.
I just we have to remind them how privileged and spoiled they are because that is an absolute delicacy. And but I
But
am
all
glad they eat. I am glad they eat. Different types of food
different
and stuff.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I was the same way. I grew up. I wasn't able to eat any of that stuff. Like,
yeah.
my family told me they're like, "Oh, eating sushi. We don't eat sushi here." Oh, why am I doing a southern accent? We don't eat sushi because that's like what white people eat, or
No,
that's
they
what
love
you
sushi
know,
too.
or because there's like the fish ain't cooked and we always eat our fish. So like like the steak extra well done was my family
Oh
until I grew up and I realized like you can't do
yeah.
so. It
That
took me until like my adult years to realize that my family was so. That's the problem with like a slight problem with being so inculcated in the black community where like we do it the right way
pink
because
is
like we invented.
bad. Yeah, pink is
Yeah,
bad.
exactly. Because we invented like, soul food. So therefore we think that we are like the culinary experts of everything. And the reality is like, hold on, you got to expand your boundaries.
Yeah.
My mom came over, she tried a seaweed cracker one day and she like almost threw up. I'm like, wow, it's just seaweed. Relax.
I hated pork chops for the better, first half of my life,
Really?
because it was cooked overcooked dry, like, and
Oh,
steak didn't you didn't want to see any pink, the burgers, but as I got older, I realized the ways because I didn't like really care for steak either until I started eating it, medium. I prefer medium rare. Burgers, I mean, look,
yeah,
burgers are
same,
hard to
same.
mess up. Even like a well done burger that's not overcooked is good, but
Now you
like,
should eat burgers well done though. That is how you're supposed to eat burgers because I'm sure you heard the science behind it, right? But for folks who do not know, the reason why steak can be medium rare or even seared on both sides is because it's the outside that has the bacteria. Now, ground beef, the inside, when it's ground up, there's a bunch of tops together. So when
yeah,
you don't sear that stuff, there's a lot of bacteria on the inside. So that's the difference between a steak and ground beef, and that's why you should, for health reasons,
yeah,
actually have your
you
burgers well
should
done.
you should get your ground beef. You should, to your point, you're right. So you got to be careful where you get your ground beef from. But I like my whole thing is smash burgers now, anyways. So those
Oh
are
yeah, I love making smash burger.
can't go
Anyway,
wrong.
hey folks, you're not here to talk about Rom's diet, his gastro intestinal, gastropub tryst he's having out here in the city. We are here to talk about politics, and folks want to get into that. So Rom, what's the first story we got up?
Yeah, so the first one is local, keep it local. So Union
Keep it
County,
local.
uh,
UC.
they have the off from the Office of the Commissioner's special notice. They are seeking uh, committees, people to join the committees. So
Hmm.
we passed. I think we showed this maybe last month when it first came out, but um, I think it's probably a good strategy for people to get involved in these type of committees. This one is heavily to me in healthcare. So got adult care home advisory committee, Atrium Health Union Advisory Council, Human Services Board, Home and County Care Block Grant, Juvenile
Hmm.
Crime Prevention Council, Land Use
Hmm.
Board, and Nurse Home Advisory Committee. So, the tonight's theme is for the show is who's watching the watchers, or and I think a lot of it comes down to accountability and trying to bring accountability to these folks and highlight what's going on in these various committees and what's going on in the commissioners, and there's a lot to keep up with, and
It is.
so I don't think any one person can do it, so it's going to take the community, and hopefully if this speaks to you and you have the time to do so, I think it'd be good to get more folks more involved. What can you tell us about it? I know, like in the last 4 years,
Yeah.
is
Yeah, so these things are good just for people who want to get involved. To your point earlier, to get involved with politics locally. These are not elected positions, but you can, of course, submit applications. They go through a process to pick people to be on these boards and commissions to be able to oversee certain specific, topics, right? And you went through a few of those a few minutes ago. But like, it's just a good way to kind of see how the gears, how they say, how the sausage is made, right? On the inside. Like, okay, not now you're not going to see everything, but just I think a loose and light exposure to local government can either pique your interest or radicalize you into be like, you know what, we need to change these things. So these are really good jump off places for anybody that wants to get involved. Nonpartisan stuff, right? But they're clearly led by partisan people. So you get to see them more up close. You get to see how things get passed, how things get prioritized, how things get funded, why they're not funded, what are the obstacles. These are all things that can benefit everybody. And this is not just here in Union County. So if you're listening outside of Union County, North Carolina, please look up the commissions and board positions in your local area, because if you don't want to run for office, this is a good way to dip your toe in the water. So please feel free to do that. But yeah, it's a really good civic duty that we can amplify.
Yeah, and this past week, there was also the filing deadline. I think statewide, a
Yeah.
lot of states,
Friday, yeah.
but in Union County for sure. So shout out to like,
Yeah.
so this is one thing that the commissioners is not elected, right? So the committees, I think you still have to be selected, but it's
Hmm.
hard in Union County as a Democrat, or I guess anything that's
A
non-Republican,
non-Republican. A
that to
non-Republican.
actually win a seat. So shout out to everyone who filed and plans to run. I know Liz ran, last year.
Filed the last
It's
hour before that Friday. The deadline was noon on Friday. She filed at like 11:14 a.m. It was
Yeah,
crazy,
it
but
is
she
not
did.
for the faint-hearted, and
Sure ain't.
maybe it makes inroads, and we can't win if we don't try. So again,
Yeah.
and,
Running for office is like a full body x-ray. Like you got to be ready. You're going to be poked and prodded. Everything's going to be exposed. You really can't keep anything on the download. You got to, and you got to be, and there's a lot of like incoming arrows, right? People attack my wife for being black, for being a woman, for being a black woman, for being my wife. I mean, these are things, and this is why people are like, oh, we just need Dems. It's like some of those cultural things don't get thought about when they're just saying we need people to run. Like, again, we have to deal with this shit when we're not just dealing with the Democratic Party. We have to deal with this when we're at the grocery store. We have to deal with these type of societal mores constantly. But yet and still, people still want to tell us that, oh, we need to get you involved. So when we do show up and vote at overwhelming numbers, it can seem a bit disingenuous when you want to do something else, something more, when we're already under threat. Like, you use your privilege. If you're so good, like, you have time. You're a stay-at-home mom. You're an early retiree. You're someone who has a good amount of wealth. You run. You do these things and fight for all of us. You go in those rooms where we are not at, and you say, hey, we got to look out for the eastern part of Union County. We got to look out for the black community. We got to look out for the immigrant community. We got to look out for the LGBT. Like, use that, not this whole like, we need you because your face. That's tokenism. That's using me as an ornament. That's using us not for our knowledge and our intellect, but just using us as a kind of a rubber stamp. Like, well, look, we got a black guy, so therefore, because the Republican Party does that, right? And so we just got to get more strategic with our placements and putting people where they need to be.
yeah, and a lot of those are healthcare related, and as most people know, healthcare is going to be getting hit hard over the next 2 to 4 year, at least, right? So
That's right.
with this big beautiful bill and these things that
Beautiful.
start to take place now over time, I mean, people are already starting to feel it in terms of like the insurance. They're giving more power back to the insurance companies. The subsidies are going away right away. So that all hits people directly and indirectly. And all of these, people at the county level and the city levels, even states clapping like circus seals that all these cuts are happening. That's going to fall to the states. So now, while we're paying federal taxes, we're paying our state taxes, we're paying our county tax, and then what? And then they're going to have to increase it, and we're getting less and paying more. So they give us some crumbs, or give some people some crumbs. And anyways, so the one election that's not going to be happening this fall is the Monroe mayor, which was just moved, canceled for 2025 by
Oh,
the Republican Assembly here in North Carolina. So they threw Monroe on this list of about 11 cities or municipalities that are no longer holding a 2025 election. Of course, Mayor Robert Burns of Monroe,
Bobby
uh,
Burns.
he says he didn't know, but he supported
Ugh.
it and didn't stop it. Didn't care that he didn't care that he wasn't informed. Didn't care
It,
that the
it
council wasn't
logically,
informed. Didn't
it
care that
doesn't
the
make
people wasn't
sense.
informed. Were not informed.
Yeah. Like, I mean, again, that's how you know it's bullshit. Like, hold on, wait. something's going to foundationally change the way that I'm viewed as a political leader, I'm for it. Like that didn't make sense. But some people they want to believe the lie. I'm sure his supporters out there that are, virulent racists and virulent homophobes and virulent sexists. That's what whiteness. That's why these people are the embodiment of white supremacy. It requires constant lies to keep themselves feeling good, constant lies to make themselves feeling like they're being under attack or besieged. And in reality, they're in the halls of power. In reality, they're the ones taking away your rights. In reality, they're the ones entrenching their power. And until we can get smart enough to not try to be like, well, hold on, this one Trump supporter said they're mad that they voted for Trump. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter to me as a black man. It doesn't matter to my black wife or my black mother or my black children. Because at the end of the day, that one person who's upset that maybe, Trump did something with, SNAP or Medicaid, they still may have negative feelings for black people or for immigrants or for women. And like, and who's to say they won't vote for the next Republican who is continuing on the Republican project? As we said a few episodes ago, this is a 50-year or even longer strategy. So Trump did not just do this. He just put the nail in the coffin. So the idea that people don't like Trump's tack or his aesthetic really doesn't have any political weight. And anybody that has truly tried to organize and fight for the liberation, or at least the foot off the neck a little bit of people who are under threat.
Yep. So, anyways, there's something that popped up this week, or at least on my yeah, I think this week it came out from it's an account called Monroe. So Mayor Robert Burns. He's got this whole
Bobby Burns.
His hashtag is Monroe Schlong.
Call him Bobby Burns. Call him Bobby Burns. The reason why, just real quick, the reason why, because he'll say, "Hold on, that's not my name," but you'll misgender someone who's trans.
Oh,
And that like that's not their name isn't whatever their dead name is, but they love to do that shit. So like, why this whole Democrats, we got to start playing by their fucking rules. Like when they go low, you kick them hard enough where they don't want to go low again. That needs to be our strategy, not this whole like, hold on, we're no more Cory Bookers. No more Cory Bookers. How you're better than this. God bless America and God bless you, Robert Burns. You're better than this. That shit got to get out the fucking window.
yeah. Yeah, he pretended like he couldn't say my name for about 2 or 3 times.
What is this?
He didn't even try.
RAUM. Like how ignorant, how racist. He just was
like, I can't even say it.
Now, like my name, I get it. Like people fuck my name up. My wife fucks my name. She calls me Pern sometimes. She's just lazy with it. She's like Pern. Like my name is Peyron. I'm your husband.
Pernsley.
So, right. So like, but Rom, it's RAUM. I don't know how you can because you can say bomb.
Try like you can try like
again.
It's been like a decade since somebody has like not even like tried. Like,
but like if you can again, unless you're a stupid person, which again we said
or Rome, like that's what usually.
But again, AUM is you can say lip balm, or what else has AUM in it?
That's it.
I don't know. All these books, I ain't gonna know where. It's Sunday, y'all. This is our Sunday.
So, anyways, the account an account popped up on YouTube. Called Monroe Schlong.
We just voted.
Yes. Hey. So, they put out two this week. One was like a parody of the council meeting earlier this month, where he had no confidence vote.
No confidence. Yes,
they jumped in on the Burns and his sidekick, his side piece.
His side piece.
Yeah,
they were swaying together.
It's a joke. Don't worry, Burns. You're not gonna sue us.
We didn't make it. Whatever. It ain't gonna do with us.
Getting Sue happy. But here I'm gonna go ahead and show this. This is kind of funny.
Little pussy.
I'm Mark Mabee with Channel 5 News, and folks, you absolutely won't believe this buzzing story. Just days after their heated Monroe City Council meeting, Mayor Burns and former Mayor Pro Tem were spotted together at the Coldplay concert in Boston on the Kiss Cam.
Oh no! This isn't what it looks like. We were just discussing city ordinances. I knew I should have stayed home and flipped nameplates instead.
Kiss, kiss, kiss.
By God's grace, this is a misunderstanding. We're here for the music. I love Jesus and Coldplay.
Robert, you're making it worse.
I need to post a disclaimer on Facebook immediately. Views expressed on Kiss Cams are not those of the city of Monroe.
Look at the stars,
Look how they shine for political reconciliation. Well, at least we're not fighting about House Bill 3 right now. David, maybe the Lord brought us together tonight to heal our municipal wounds. Or maybe we just both have terrible taste in concert seats.
And there you have it, folks. From no confidence votes to Coldplay concerts, Monroe politics keeps us all buzzing. The Real CEO, Andy Byron, has been placed on leave after his kiss cam moment, but our local politicians seem to be handling their viral fame just fine. This is Mark Mabey reminding you, sometimes politics make strange beadfellows. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Well, there you have it. This AI has hit Monroe, and we have now
hit it hard.
Cartoon series. I heard he's word on the streets is that he's
not too happy.
Not too happy. So
not too happy, Chappie.
Don't spread that around. Don't show that to your friends.
Don't
send the link.
Don't tell anybody about this. Barry, I'm looking for another video.
But again, it's Monroe Schlong.
Schlong, like a ding-a-ling, because they're so afraid of anything that makes them look queer because they think there's a problem with being queer, and that's so like the embarrassing piece of this is we talk about toxic masculinity. Again, I want to kind of do these targeted episodes. One, we talk about patriotism, but another one will be masculinity, and how it's been weaponized, honestly, by these type of people who are completely insecure and completely, usually, again, how many times we got to see Republican politician caught with child porn or caught with soliciting a minor boy? It's like, how many times, like, it's y'all repressed, submissive mindset that is doing all this. But the fact that this gets under his skin is really telling. I think it's a sign that these people aren't, they have no sort of backbone. They have no sort of sense of identity or sense of confidence within who they are. But yeah, anything that gets them upset. But as I'm always going to go back to, anytime I see stuff like this, same thing about Trump, as I just said, it's their voters. There are people out there that will now double down on Robert Burns because of this too. Like, I'm going to vote for him again because they're attacking our good mayor in Monroe. And it's like, the guy doesn't offer anything because, again, conservatives cannot offer anything. They do not know how to build anything beyond just keeping the status quo, which is meager and poxmarked at best in place. That's the best they can do. So the idea that these people deserve another shot, or because someone makes fun of them, even though he's made his bread and butter off calling Democrats the worst thing ever, which is pedophiles. Right? And not only pedophiles, but murderous pedophiles. Like these people, but yet they voted for someone who was on the Lolita Express and who had met Melania Trump on Jeffrey Epstein's plane and had his first sexual intercourse with Melania on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, ironically. So like, this is the people who are trying to say you're a pedophile because you want queer people to get civil rights. You want trans people to be treated like human beings.
Yeah, and and these people. So Mark Harris,
good
the
guy,
senator
good guy.
here in
oh God, so good.
Yeah, I'm sorry, House Rep.
House Rep, yeah.
But he posted on Facebook this week, honored to have the complete and total endorsement of President Trump.
Oh,
and I
look at that.
And of course, Bobby Burns,
Bobby Burns
retweeted that or whatever. But again, these are the same people that talk about protecting children constantly, as when they talk about trans and gay. It's always they're hiding behind protected children. And here you are talking about the Jerry.
Well, not those kids, not those ones, because they looked older.
But they're protecting Jeff Epstein. All this, I think Donald Trump was a participant, more than likely, right? But here he is. He's hiding he's protecting Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, that was a Freudian free fall, not a Freudian slip.
But and so they all are. The entire Republican Party, they all
it's a system.
Wanted to get it out. The billionaires, these people. Ghislaine, whatever, Maxwell. The the woman
She's the one that gets
out of
locked
the
up.
woman,
Yeah.
and they were just trafficking to nothing. Like,
I
I
mean,
mean,
don't forget Prince Andrew met his little underage girl by Jeffrey Epstein. Where at? Mar-a-Lago.
mm,
So then everybody's like, oh, it's just the singular Epstein. Like, no, there's a lot of people who have a lot of things, but in reality, we live in a country and a society in the world, dare I say, that just does not want to listen to women.
mm.
These women have told you countless times who did this to them, but we need a man to tell us that, oh, these are the Epstein files, or we need, a man in a suit with a camera in his face telling you these are the Epstein files, these are the names that are redacted. Listen to the women. Virginia Giuffre, who was one of the most famous ones, and unfortunately, she's committed suicide earlier this year. She said in detail what Prince Andrew and how she was trafficked, all that stuff.
Mhm.
And there's another lady named Virginia, I forget her name too, but she talked about it in explicit detail. So like the truth is out there, but we don't want to know because we as a society still don't believe women. We still don't trust women. We still think women through that whole Adam and Eve thing, and she ate the apple, therefore women are, they have secrets and all this other shit. Instead of being like, men are pieces of shit. And I say that as a man. Does that affect me? No. Does that affect you? No. But we acknowledge that. And I'm not gonna be the first person to be like, no, man, not me and Rom, not like whatever.
Yeah, the
Because
whole
Rom, if you heard like tonight that like I beat my wife, you'd be like, oh shit, anybody's capable. And we can't be like, oh my God, no, how dare this guy, he could never do that, right? So like we gotta stop that shit. But that's what the right loves, to just deify certain powerful men with authority, and we all need to follow.
Yeah, the tribe identity like thing of like gender tribalism and just jumping to that is like uh it's kind of weird, man, to me. Like, just
But what do
if
you mean?
you're like, if somebody's automatic reaction is to defend men because what? Just because
Mm-mm.
you're a man?
Right.
Like, I just it's just like weird, and that there's a lot of that, and you see, especially like on the internet, right? You'll see
Oh God,
say,
yeah.
oh, like oh well, women, all women this, and but it's like these guys, they're they'll be like all women, and it's like, well, based off of like your experience or like who hurt you, and but all men, like, I don't know, it's just a little bit weird.
But even like I think an example is like even like the Diddy thing. Like,
Mhm.
we saw Cassie's, video. We saw, she put out multiple times what he had done to her, before the trial, right? We knew like about some of the freak out stuff, because that was in that threatening letter that she was gonna put out. It was like all the salacious details in there, but that's why he had to settle, right? But like and I'll use black culture because I'm not a part of white culture, even though we have to pay attention to white culture because that's how we survive. But using black culture, for example, black men didn't really care about the Diddy thing until it was like, wait, he's messing with a dude? What? Oh, is he gay? And it's like that. No Diddy, no Diddy. And it wasn't like he's been a monster to multiple women, right? Like Albie Shore uh, said multiple times that like he was so glad that Diddy was going down because Kim Porter, who they have, what's I forget the name of that child's name, with, and he's like, yo, this dude's a bad fucking guy. But like we didn't care about any of that, him beating women,
Mm.
him trashing people, him having these freak off parties. But the exact minute is like there might have been a man involved. Then all of a sudden, that's when black men felt like, oh, that's what we're going to comment on, is the homosexuality. Because in reality, there's a level of like, I want to do that too. I want to have that power, not necessarily the licentiousness and the like the depravity, but I want to have that power of control. I want to run a network, even though they're not saying that, but it's implicit in the non-condemnation.
Yeah, yeah. Andrew Tate, right? Like,
Andrew,
they
it's a great
idolize this
example.
man. They got him out of jail. They
Flew him to
literally,
America.
but they can't get Kilmar out of Venezuela, but they could get
Protect the
Andrew
girls,
Tate
guys.
and get him safe and sound into Florida, and
We
pal
protect
around.
women.
Again, these birds of a feather flock together. But yeah, this, I think the Epstein. I don't know what's going to happen with it. I mean, it goes dark and deep, and it goes probably against the most powerful people, meaning the billionaires,
Yep.
the one, a lot of the 1% we talk about, right? So
Political elite, corporate
we're in a
elite,
full
sports
scale
elite.
oligarchy, like, right? So I think there's powers that be that are going to just not let certain things leak, and they might even scapegoat Trump one of these days, and kick him
That's
to the
right.
side.
Oh, I
So
think we're seeing that. I think that's why,
these stories didn't come
as
out
we're
of
getting,
nowhere.
as we were getting off of air, our last episode, that's when the news had broke about Trump's sickness and all this stuff. And there was a tweet that went out there like this Epstein stuff's so bad that that Trump released his medical records for the first time. And there was a retweet, and it was like sexual predators always do this. Right, Bill Cosby did it. Right, he's in jail and his eyes are failing, and then Harvey Weinstein did it. He was showing up to court with a walker, and they said his lungs were failing. And now Trump, oh, he has these cankles. Motherfucker, been had cankles, right? Like
Right.
those
Right.
shits ain't new. Like you ever seen Trump? Trump built like Grimace. Like ain't no way. Like he ain't he had sharp ankles last week, and then all of a sudden he's got these U-shaped ankles. No man, bro, Ben had ankles term one and before that, right? Like so we just have to be honest where we are. And then on top of that, like even some of the liberal people that are like, oh, Trump's in the Epstein file. Like, again, we got to go back to America was built off this, baby. Like, America was built, like, who do you think was on the slave ships? Like, there were so many slave ships that didn't make it to America because there was mutinies because there were grown men on there. So what did they have to do? They had to get young people. In fact, they said they needed people that they wanted young women on the ship. They kept those quarters closest to the quarters of where the white sailors were for obvious reasons. But they wanted women. They wanted I'm saying women. They wanted young girls, children who weren't even on their period yet, who weren't even on their menstruation yet, and then young boys because why? Because they could overpower them. Right, it's easy to do a mutiny, and then those were the easiest ones to sell, to take their language from them, to take their culture from them, because they were so new on the earth. So, and what did they do? They put these people on a ship where they didn't know where they were going, trafficked them somewhere else, sold them to someone else. That's how this country was built, and I think people can't get through that. Our true indoctrination of the society comes out when you talk to people about where they stake this is, and they're like, "Oh, Trump's doing what someone else did." Like, no, this is what America is, and I hate to break it to you, but that's the realness. And until we can grapple that, and then hopefully you could turn to us and be like, "Oh wait, y'all been telling us how to survive this shit this whole time because y'all been Epsteined before Jeffrey Epstein was a glimmer in his daddy's eye."
So that's it seems to be a coordinated effort to get it's a little bit weird. Remember, even when
You,
I
you,
when
you think they're gonna try to take Trump out? You think?
I don't know. Remember when we didn't like break the story, but it was breaking news that now on
Breaking.
Thursday when they said Trump has this drawing, and it's like, well,
Yes,
where did
yes.
this
I didn't
drawing
know too
just
much about
came
the
out the
story at the
blue?
time. I actually learned about it after the episode, and I was like, "Oh, this is what Ron was talking about."
Yeah, so he drew nudes and signed his name and wrote
He
a
said,
note.
I never wrote a picture."
And then apparently, like all of a sudden, they got all these pictures that Trump drew, and
He's like, I never do doodles. It turns out you're kind of a fucking doodle machine.
but it's interesting. The interesting, what I find interesting about it is that now it's Rupert Murdoch and company, and billionaires running
Yeah,
it, which is meaning that some other powers that be are escalating to me. That's what it seems
yeah,
like, and so it's not again, we talked about this last week. It's not Democrats that have been um trying to revive this story. So I think it is something I think there's something brewing. So
Well, it was also underreported that JD Vance went out to
oh yeah, Montana.
the yeah, the Murdoch's estate to meet with Lachlan Murdoch, who runs Fox News Corporation, and I believe one of the other it was the Wall Street Journal. He runs that too, or Rupert runs that. But it's all succession shit. And it wasn't the media couldn't follow in. They didn't. There was no readout of what they talked about, and of course, after this is when this news dropped, and JD Vance is sitting there saying, release it afterwards. Which again, I think certain people, I think Amanda Silver was talking about this, how folks like us that talk about the Cassandras, who are like, hey, this is one of our topics that we were supposed to get on last episode, but are we ready for a Trump administration? Meaning Trump being out of the way and a successor of JD Vance being appointed, and we know he doesn't have the charisma, but I'm not talking about what we want or even what their base wants. I'm talking about what the powerful want. They want a puppet. They want someone who is going to be forward for this tech oligarchy. They want someone who's going to be a fascist, even though he's just a hillbilly. And JD Vance ain't nothing but a smoky-eyed parvenu. Okay, Google that word when you get some time, folks. He's a parvenu. He's a simple parvenu, Jefferson Davis Vance. That's not what it stands for. But that's what I call him. He is a parvenu, okay? And he's a poser, and he's been bought and paid for by Peter Thiel to be put in this position. And because they knew Trump wasn't going to make it 4 years. Hell, he's 6 months in, and he's up there stammering, talking about his uncle Ted Kaczynski and all this shit. Like, this man ain't gonna make it probably to the end of the year. And if he does, it'll be about the skin of his spun sugar hair.
Yeah, these tech overlords, Peter Thiel and Palantir. I mean, Palantir is, and we call this episode "Who's Watching the Watchers." Palantir is who they have put the technology they've put behind to watch everyone, right? But who's watching Palantir? Who's
Nobody.
watching these billionaires as they, make these exchanges? I mean, look, J.P. Morgan was watching all, and I think 3 other big banks were watching all these transactions.
That's right.
Over $1 billion in transactions with Jeffrey Epstein. And
That's right.
Transactions with himself?
Yeah, well,
Right?
yes, Rom, yes. When you traffic kids to yourself, you got to take money out of your right pocket and put into your left
And
pocket.
all of
And
these-
we all know that.
All these things are being flagged, and then
Now.
then it's a settlement because after it's been raised and no one knows anything. Trump, the FBI, there's no whistleblowers, right? Because they've been tasked with flagging anytime Trump's name is mentioned in the Epstein documents.
And
right?
then to add another coin on the scale, what happened last week or in between episodes? Who got fired from the SDNY? James Comey's daughter, Maureen Comey, who was a 10-year prosecutor and prosecuted not only Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, but also Diddy. So we talk about how these things are connected. And again, I'm not adding any fuel to I'm saying that I think it's intentionally political because I do think it came from the top that Trump wanted her out because one, she's a Comey, Comey made the Epstein list. Okay, so in Obama and Biden, they made these lists to not release them. Make it make sense. Okay. So they made these lists to hurt Trump, and they said, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna wait until we get him right where we want him. We're gonna wait until he's the president of the United States, and then he'll have control over everything, and then we'll get him. I mean, because you know what they say. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. The logic just breaks down when you start to poke any sort of holes in it, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
And they would love to, say Obama's in the files, but they can't do that because then they got to release them. So what do they say? So they throw out some other red meat this week.
Obama made the files.
Or and then he made up the Russian hoax. All of a sudden, that's arrest him because he made up a Russia interference or
Russia.
Was,
Are we still talking about
here's
Russia Epstein?
Yeah. And so here's the thing is like they did this shtick with Hillary Clinton. Remember lock her up for leading up to 2016. So this month, this month was president for 4 years. Did you see Hillary Clinton get locked up?
I must have missed that, Ron. I'm sorry. I thought I was on top of it, brother.
But it made great entertainment. It made great red meat. It made great distractions. They were talking about locking up Hillary for 4 years.
I think they did 11 congressional.
Yeah, she was like testifying
11 times,
something hours, like 40. Like
she's sitting at a certain point, like.
And so what happened? Like, so they're doing the same thing with Obama. They know good. And I guess tonight Trump's posting Obama in a jumpsuit and him getting arrested in the Oval Office. I'm assuming it's some AI. I haven't seen it.
It's all trying to distract because this shit ain't going away.
Yeah,
this Epstein shit ain't going away.
That's the red meat that they, you see Charlie Kirk trying to retweet it, but that's what they do. And there's a lot of people who probably a week ago, again, this is why I said I really don't think that there's much to this from the base, because I think that they'll just see a story like Obama did this and this.
I don't think so, unfortunately.
But I do think the powers that be, those billionaires, I think they're having a rift. I think they're having
I think there's a rift on both ends. I think the billionaire, when Trump's trying to crash the economy, talking about I'm gonna fire Jay Powell, the economy tanks, then he says, okay, I was just asking the Republicans. I just sent this letter, say, look at this letter. The economy goes back up when he said, oh, I'm not gonna do it. Like he is a caged animal. And what happens to caged animals that are wounded and they're having that death rattle, right? Have you seen a snake right before it dies? It's all twisted up in a knot, and it's just its fangs are everywhere, its rattles are everywhere. That's what we're seeing. And he's trying to change the narrative, but you can say Charlie Kirk is doing that. And that there's that video where he said, I'm done talking about Jeffrey Epstein. I'm done talking about it. I trust my friends in the government. Have you ever heard a conservative say, I trust the government? Their whole thing is, I don't trust the government. That's literally their whole thing, even though the government is always ran by conservative white people. Even the Democratic ones are conservative white people. Like, so it doesn't make any sense. So they're trying to throw anything at the wall to make sure it sticks. But in reality, on that video where he says that, in the comments, everybody was like, Charlie, no, like this is what we voted for him for to drain the swamp, and he's the biggest swamp mon. I mean, Charlie got ratioed on his own post. Donald Trump got ratioed on Truth Social, first time ever since Truth Social existed, when he said, "Why are we still talking about the Epstein files?" That one, his base will not let this go, and I'm here for it. And I'm not saying, again, to your point, that they're turning into Democrats or turning into independents, but they want their pound of flesh.
Yeah, I'm way more pessimistic than you, but
That's not
this
optimism.
one, yeah,
That's just truth of what they're saying.
Yeah, I get it, but it had this. To be fair, it has lasted longer than I've expected,
And it's still
but I
going.
don't think that these are not really moral people. So that
Right.
I just don't. I don't know, but and I think the first they try to say, oh well, Democrats are on the list. Is like, and Democrats
Okay.
Democrats are like, okay, then put them on blast. Like, what are you talking
Show
about?
me. Fuck them.
And so that didn't stick. The
Oh,
Democrats,
damn it.
Democrats have no
Damn.
problem. Like
Those Democrats, how dare they have some morals? And like, God,
What's it, Franken? Al Franken. He was gone in a heartbeat.
he had to go,
And
right?
so
All of a sudden.
Anthony Weiner, and Democrats don't have
Mhm.
that problem where they'll what is it? Circle the wagons or get them
Circle the
yeah,
wagons.
like for their
Circle the wagons.
protect their folks, and they'll protect Trump. It's crazy to me, but anyways,
Yeah, we'll keep our eye on this, because I think, again, until it stops, like I keep my eyeball to a lot of right wing shit, and like the base motherfuckers, like they're pissed because, one, like they need this, because in a world where you can't control shit, you try to find things that make sense to you, and that's the whole utility of conspiracy theories. It gives you like a villain to say the reason your life is so bad is because of this pedophile cabal ring. Hence Comet Pizza, where someone drove up from North Carolina right. So like they need this, like, okay, I need the button end to this. But like all cults, all doomsday cults, they always shift the deadline. Oh, it's May 25th, 2012. Now it's May 25th, 2012, right? It's like it just keeps moving. And that's why we played Nick Fuentes at the top of the last episode, because he at least told the truth in that short moment. Like, we were fucking duped by this guy. We were duped, and he even said, I'm not a Democrat. I don't like Democrats. He said, but Republicans shit in our face. His words verbatim. Like, so he did tell the truth there as a Nazi, but he's a Nazi. So I'm not saying I agree with Nazis, but he did tell the truth. That's not me agreeing with him. That's just me
yeah,
observing that he told a
well, that's
fact.
the one thing. That's the other thing, is that people on the left or whatever can say things like that. Hey, that statement was true. Whereas like a lot of people on the right, they just have a problem. They have to be the polar opposite.
Correct.
Like Obama could say healthcare for everyone.
Today's Sunday. They're like, no, it's not. It's actually side. It's like it's Saturday extra.
Yeah, thank you. But
What?
that whole polarized, like that mentality too. Like that's why I used to call myself a centrist and a moderate, because I just kept it real, and I still keep it real. But like that doesn't describe me. That no longer.
I knew these people were full of shit when I saw this stat that said 65% of Republicans distrust science because they think it has a liberal bias.
What's the Kruger Dunning effect?
Now think about what that means. That means people think a fact science, because you have to go through the scientific method, right? Try it multiple times, and then once you get the same outcome, you'd say, okay, now that is a fact. They don't like something that has been so proven to a point it is a fact, because they think it has a liberal bias, because they think facts are liberal. And all we're saying is that today is Sunday, And since they don't like the way me and you look and our skin tone and the fact that that who we are and where we live and what we do, they have to be against it to the point where someone says today's a good day to go hunting here in Monroe.
Yeah. Well, it's about a couple things that, in my opinion, education and a broader perspective that you'll find within the left, right? And so, whereas they have this myopic culture, myopic viewpoint on everything, and it shows that they're less educated. There is a correlation that colleges are liberal leaning because that's just so
Because when you go there, you meet people from all over the country. Then you realize, wait a minute, my peepaw was wrong about these people, or this specific group, or that specific group, or that whatever. Or I was told that those people are bad. Then you meet those people, or you might get your girlfriend pregnant in college and she needs an abortion, and you're like, hold on, I was raised in small Kentucky, and I was told that abortion, blah 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 blah. Then you realize, like, hold on, she's in pre med. I'm in pre-law, and we ain't gonna stay together. Like you start realizing, wait a minute, I was lied to by Peepaw Meemaw. And then you start becoming quote unquote more liberal, but in reality, you're just more fact-based. You're more human-based. Your empathy aperture has expanded. And now that's why they want to shut down and defund all these public institutions and public educational institutions, because those are the places where that garner a broader appeal to humanity.
Yeah. You see real quick in Oklahoma, I think there's 49th in education in the country. 49th.
Good old Oklahoma.
And they basically are saying that the 2020 election was rigged as the official.
It's part of the curriculum.
Curriculum.
Yeah.
I mean, based off of what? So
again, like what I would say, like the purpose of whiteness is to continually be about lies, right? Like it's built upon lies. It's built upon always being under threat, always being persecuted. And who's that? What's the guy's name? Who's the he's now a prominent national figure, but he's the superintendent for Oklahoma. His name's Ryan. You've probably seen the guy. He looks like his name is Ryan, whatever his name is.
I thought that was the governor.
No, Stitt is the governor.
Oh, okay, yeah, he does look like a Ryan, because I know who you're talking about. I just thought he was.
You know what I'm talking about? He's very, because these people, again, we live in a society, folks, where 54% of adults read below sixth grade level. So what does that mean? That means people lean on people that are talking confidently, they're wearing suits and look like them, like a Tucker Carlson or this superintendent. And what does he do? He makes direct to public videos where he's staring in the camera and he's saying, I care about Jesus and I care about God. Yeah, look at him, looking like he's fresh out the Fourth Reich. Look at this guy. I mean, this guy, he has some skeletons in his closet that are just jangling around. I mean, there is no doubt.
His name is Ryan, but he looks
right. What's his last name? Ryan
Walters. I thought he was
Ryan Walters. That's his name.
I actually thought he was the governor. He for the
might as well be
the school superintendent. He's dumb as a. That's why you're 49. Anyways,
and remember, he was trying to buy those Trump Bibles. Remember Trump put out those Bibles?
Yeah,
he like $1 million or something. He tried to use the fund. They're like, you can't do that shit, and it got struck down in the courts because he wanted one of those Bibles in every single classroom and university.
Yeah. So moving on real quick. So moving on to Texas. Yeah.
Texas.
So Texas,
where they like it big,
is getting ready to
pause. I guess.
Yeah, Trump is getting ready
because I'm straight. I'm straight, guys. I'm straight.
Yeah,
that's them, not me. Sarcasm, folks.
The guys that got to say like pause after every sentence.
Yo, I can't eat hot dogs, dog. Like, what, bro? You can't eat hot dogs? What's wrong with you, man? Can't eat no lollipops. No, can't no glizzy. Right? You making up names for phallic shaped foods, and you make yourself sound more okay. All right.
So, okay. But anyways, Trump wants
fellas, we got to process this stuff, fellas.
Trump wants them to gerrymander in Texas and pick up 5 seats.
Yeah.
He says it out in the open.
Yeah. Not a massive gerrymander. Just pick up 5 seats.
So this is, and it's already a state that's
extremely.
It's a majority state, meaning there's more non-white folks in Texas than there is white folks, and they even so they've gerrymandered already over the years so that Republicans have an advantage. They're looking at Jasmine Crockett's seat to get her out of the office. In order to do that, they will have to gerrymander it. So basically, meaning that they will make these maps so discombobulated that black and brown folks have absolutely no power. They have no representation. So Governor Newsom of California has said, well, two can play that game, and he's kind of threatened that he may do the same. I'm of the belief that absolutely that should be within the deck, right? It should be, I think it should be at the very least threatened and probably even carried out upon, right? Because how else can you, I know it's another state and I know it's going to disenfranchise people, but how else can you do that? Had a quick exchange with Kate Upton Bar,
Yeah.
and
Cape Compton Bar.
Kate Compton Bar. Thank you.
Potential upcoming guest.
Yes, thank you.
He's got to lock her down.
And she posted a video today, said that's her red line. She doesn't believe in
her red line, like as in like I'm not a Democrat anymore if they do that, or what does that mean?
Yeah, kind of. That's kind of how I took it, right? But I asked her like, well, what are the solutions? Because I felt like it's kind of like laying down and conceding ground, and I think at this point you have to be roll in the mud. There's no more when they hit low, we go high. I think Michelle even said F that, right? Like, so
yeah, it's when they go low, we go low to make sure they don't ever go low again.
Yeah, so but she had some solutions: running gerrymandered, unwinnable districts to build political will for fair maps, stop using messaging strategies that don't work, start leveraging decades of research and persuasive communication, make space in the party for people who have felt shut out, build policy and messaging strategy around the working class, raise up generation of young candidates who know how to use comm tools of today, age out the folks that have been in their seats for decades, show up for rural communities of color now, not just when we need their vote. Oh, I'm sorry, rural communities and communities of color, and do apolitical, nonpartisan charitable work. Local Dem groups show up, help build houses, feed people. All of it I agree with. I mean, I absolutely think that we say that too. I think that we have to do those things at this point, especially everyone has to step up in some way. But I'm sorry, but I'm Team Newsom right now in terms of like preparing to gerrymander. At the very least, use that as a threat so that they maybe reconsider what they're going to do. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I went to a conference my very first summer as chair of the Union County Democratic Party up in Richmond County. And there was a guy came down from Virginia. He came down with the New Rural Project, and he was saying very similar things. And the whole crowd, and there's a bunch of like Democratic Party chairs, vice chairs, Democratic Party like apparatchiks, right? It's probably about maybe 20, 30 people. They didn't expect me to be there. I will say that much. Where like, and I was like, okay, I hear all this because like he said some of the similar things. Dare I say like how many bullet points was that? Like seven,
It
eight?
was about six, yeah, 6, 7.
He probably at least had 5 or 6 of those, or if not all of them, or in some shape or form, all of that. And I had to like, and I cut right through it all, and to the point where it was almost like a problem inside the meeting. Where the New Rural Project CCO, she's like, I mean, but she was like, Perron's right though. Like, it's like, yeah, like, can you answer his question? And he couldn't. He's like, oh, I'll get to you later. So my whole point was, um, tell me the policy that will get these people to become Democrats, right? If it's just a information they don't know, to show me how, like, what do we need to tell them right now? Like, oh, well, they're locked out. We need to make space for these people. Make space for who? Because when we do this, we forget that there's people inside the house, quote unquote, the base that already exists. You can let people in who may have, this is why I talked about earlier, like we can't just say, oh, they're against Trump. If they still hold the racial resentments, they still hold gender resentments, because the people inside the house are already vulnerable. Now you're letting somebody in who's upset about specifically Donald Trump. They're upset specifically about, Mark Robinson. They're upset specifically about whatever the case, their small myopic issue. But in reality, you're gonna let them in. Then if they start wreaking harm on those people, that is now your fault that you let them in. So my question was like, okay, if Democrats are out on the side of the road, picking up trash, or I think he's saying like put a roof on an old gymnasium, all that type of shit. And I'm like, one, who's gonna see that? Who's gonna be like, oh my God, Democrats are putting rules on homes, I'm going to vote for them now. But the whole reason they vote for the Republican Party is because they were told that black people are taking their jobs and Latino people are taking their jobs, and and your boy goes to school as a boy and comes home a girl. Like, how will that cut through that?
Yeah.
On top of that, the Democratic Party is not about truly upholding young candidates. We're seeing right now with Zohran Mamdani, who have progressive ideas, and dare I say, they're pretty centrist. If it's in any other country, I think we talked about. Like, so if he was like when you try to, the Democratic Party establishment, which is in the same pockets as the Republican billionaire class, will try to suppress you. Now, now the counter could be, well, we can have our own movement, we can do our own thing. But then now you're talking about almost like being on an island, and we're trying to say there's people who are of the base that as black people, as we know of anybody. This is why we will not be finger wagged at or talked down to. We vote more about anybody per capita, but like based off of our demographic, we vote the highest, and we came out the highest to push this country forward.
Mm-hmm.
You won't even listen to us. Word to Shemaya talking to Beto O'Rourke. You won't even listen to us. So all of this, like, oh, we got to make space for people. There's some implicit language there, and what's not being said is white men. That's what she's talking about. When she's saying like there is this, we have to make space for people who's not in who at this point, and Maram, you know as much as I do, who is not invited to the Democratic Party. We got tech billionaires, we got Mark Cuban, we got James Carville. He's a Southern white man, which means his parents never said the N-word. We got now the Lincoln Project up in here. Like, who is not involved? So when you're saying we're not appealing to, who are these people? Who are you talking? The disaffected man? Who? Not who? Young black man? Young black man overwhelmingly vote for Kamala Harris. Latino man, I mean, okay, yeah, I gotta do some over there. Asian man voted for Kamala. So who are these people? And what you're saying is you want people that still hold hatreds towards us, that we have to have this, again, I'll go back to this Herculean benevolence, that we're like, oh, come on in. Even though I know you still don't like me, like not even like I don't, not interpersonally. I mean, like, you don't like that I exist. You don't like that I have an education that's more than yours. You don't like that I'm trying to fight for things that you want. You call it socialist, Marxist, all this other shit, because you don't know. So when they're saying that, in reality, I go back to this all the time. White people got to have conversations with white people. Period. So this is not the Democratic Party. Understand that's why we have a lot of Democratic leaders that do not look like us in a state where 46% of the voting Democrats are black people. Almost 50% are black. You include people of color, that's at 60% now. So the majority of people that cast ballots for the Democratic Party do not look like Anderson Clayton, do not look like Kate Compton Barr, don't look like the people that are telling us that we need to do something different. So there's a certain level of like, I don't think you're being real.
Yeah, I think I agree. Like with the bullet points she had, but I think that there's I just think it has to be more radical at this point. You know what I mean? I think you can't fight. We can't just fight. It's been what you're talking
It
about.
can't be philosophical.
When that happened,
That's
that was
the thing.
before.
It can't be philosophical.
That was before we entered that. Even with that exchange you had, that was before we entered this ultra fascist period we're now in, right? Like this
Exactly.
fascism,
Right. With people getting locked up, thrown in the ground.
And
citizens.
I think this strategy would have been great, and I think a lot of people have been putting in this type of work far before I have, right? And so I think I just it's I don't want to say too little too late, because it's still necessary. Like, all of those things are necessary for survival. All those things are necessary to be human, to be more like a moral human person, like, right, to help people build houses, to take care of unhoused, to
but even that is kind of silly.
Children,
like, how are you building?
But
how are you building houses?
That translates into like those seats are gone. That's not
building houses. What does that even mean?
That's not gonna translate to.
But just take that one. Just take that one. What does that mean, building houses? Like, what is that? Like, what does that mean? You're gonna buy all the materials. I mean, we bought houses. We know all the paperwork that goes into it. It ain't just like, okay, someone just made this house for me. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And I would like to ask her that. So hopefully she can get. And
Yeah,
I'll press her on that
show up to
question.
help build
Like,
houses, feed people who are hungry, get teacher school supplies, sponsor rural health clinics, and put our actions where our
no,
mouths are. So I
no,
did tell her
no,
looking forward to the conversation.
no.
But one thing she did say, raise a generation of young candidates who know how to use the comm tools of today, age out the folks that have been in their seats for decades. Yeah, I
Deja
agree for
Fox was
that.
one.
Yeah, I agree with that. That kind of also reminded me of a post on the Union County Democrats group, but it kind of rubbed me the wrong way just reading it.
Hmm.
I don't think it was ill intentioned, but also I think it was missed. It was a miss, but I'm all for getting younger people involved in politics and government. I also think that they should come to the table with an understanding that they don't know everything, and there is value in the wisdom elders can impart, and those elders ought to be willing to mentor rather than lecture. Um, the only thing about young people, like we don't have a lot of. There's like you go to the Union County, you go to like a lot of Democratic spaces. Like there's
We're
just
the youngest
not.
ones
There's like
there.
yeah, and there's like four, and you're like a celebrity. Like
No, like
there's a
we
young
are the
person.
youngest, like legitimate, like
Yeah,
the
and
young.
we're
And,
and
and
we're
the
damn
most
near
recent
40.
one,
I'm not even
the
like
youngest
young,
person was like 60.
but and then I think about like the revolutionaries within American history. I mean, the Revolutionary War, the Declaration of Independence, the Civil Rights Movement, like some of the people who changed this country the most were in their 20s, in their prime, right? So, uh, I I feel like there's got to be and I've been thinking like, well, how do we or how do the Democratic Party get more young people? And I'm not talking about myself. I don't. Again, I don't. I'm not even quite sure what young people means, but I know what.
It's below 50.
Mamdami is 35, right? So
33. The age of
33.
Jesus.
But and I even like I'll say like even in the professional spaces, I see the people who are the innovators and making change and working hard are the younger folks, right?
Yep.
And I feel like there's got to be, you got to dig into where these the youth are at, and to say like, hey, you should come to a Democratic meeting, but like, you know what, like you have some good ideas. Maybe you should be at the table, not listening behind, listening to other people and learning the ropes and things like that. But like, okay, what come in with your crazy dreams and your ideas, and we'll put you at the table and we will support you. Like a different approach of just like, I don't know, this is very abstract right now, but like just a different, we gotta do something different, because I think when you see the youth out there and even like the Black Lives Matter, that was one of the most recent, right? Black Lives Matter, that was a youth driven movement. That was probably created some of the biggest changes that
Palestine.
we've seen, right? Yeah. If you go out
It's a bunch
if
of
you
high
go out to a
school
pro
20 year
Palestine,
olds
yes, pro Palestine, movements,
rallies and
rallies.
marches. Yeah.
Thank you. That's where you see all the young people in those the imagery. And I know you were out there a few times. Monroe high school walkout,
Come
right?
on. Come on.
So how do you make, not only say like,
Because
we
the
want you to
leadership
come.
isn't saying what they're saying. The leadership isn't saying we want to get rid of ICE. The high schoolers are saying, I like my ICE crushed. I want ICE melted. But then you have a quote unquote statesman like the addled mind of John Fetterman saying, I think I like ICE. And whoever doesn't want ICE is ridiculous at this point, as people are being thrown to the ground and beaten, and grandmothers are being taken, and abuelas and tios and all that stuff's being taken. Like, this is the problem, is there's a disconnect from the Democratic quote unquote base, or what should be the base, contrasted with the Democratic leadership is. And it's easy to say we should build homes. Well, who is we? I always go back to the qualifying. Who is we? Who needs to go build those homes? Does Rom and I need to go build the homes? Right? And then on top of that, getting teachers, school supplies. No, you need to fight for a system where teachers have the correct pay. Right? Because the Republicans just passed a budget where they're gonna give ICE agents $130,000 to $300,000 to be a supervisor with ICE. And they did that with policy. Now, if your policy was we're going to make sure all teachers are paid $150,000 a year, that's a policy that would change the game. But what liberals do, they want to react with interpersonal kindness to systemic violence. And that is why young people who and people who are more progressive realize that is a failing effort. And now that we're even more under the gun, we don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Who is the we?
Yeah, it feels a lot like people saying like, "Oh, well, you can't do it this way, or you should do it within the decorum of the,
God
Cory
bless you.
Booker. This is
God
beneath
bless you.
you." Or he didn't even say this is
Is
beneath you.
it?
He just said like he's like you're a better man, and this is a decorum and the parliamentary law, and it just feels like you telling people to who are willing to who are dreamers like literally how do you change the
They're
world without you
sleepwalking.
and the people who've changed this
This
world
is
the
why you got to
most
be
are
woke.
look what happens is you get older and I don't know a lot of these folks get conservative you get more and maybe conservative into the like the liberal I mean the literal definition of conservative right you start to have families and
You ain't going out as much. You're not
you're
splurging.
risk
Yeah.
adverse right so look we're in a place and we what did these young adults and children left with right now right
And that
they
was my
can't
point I was
find
about to make.
jobs they
Is
can't
that like it made sense back in the day that quote used to be like the when you're young, you're liberal. When you're older, well, they say like if you're young and you're liberal because you have a heart, and when you're older, you turn conservative because you have a brain. But that made sense in the 70s and the 80s, especially if you're white, because you had a job, you had a house. Now, what's finally impacting white people, white educated people, let me be very clear about that. White educated people. When white educated people are now they're leaving college saying, I can't find a job.
mm,
I have to move back in with mom more than ever has been recorded. When they're saying, "Hey, I can't pay off these student loans." Now, black and brown people, that's always been where we've been, right? But we still had to strive through it. You use community. We're now seeing it wash up on the shores of people who never had to fight against this. So when you're saying who are we bringing in, it's people who are disaffected, but you're not fighting that system. You're just trying to let me go buy that college student a singular book. No, that doesn't help systemically creating more people who are going to be more radicalized in a system that is a duopoly like we have. The right wing always goes towards fascism whenever authoritarianism whenever shit falls out, and progressives always go towards socialism when the bottom falls out. They fall into community, a social communal gathering of like, look, I may not have nothing, but I know Tommy up the street got some sugar. I know Sandy up the street she got some flour. Someone else got the sugar. We gonna make this cake. Like that is how they come together. But rugged individualism, what is sold to us, and what the right uses their this is the veneer of patriotism and masculinity to say you got to be by yourself. That's why it works on these young men, these Andrew Tate young men, and the Fit and Fresh podcast guys, and the Joe Rogans and the Andrew Schultz. Is well, look at me, I'm a millionaire, and you could be like me. I just sit here and smoke weed, talking to Elon Musk. In reality, most people can't do that, but they go down the rabbit hole, and that sells them. So how can building a house again? You're gonna do the papers for that person. You're gonna, yeah, I mean, like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not trying to be funny, but like, we just got to be real when we're hearing this shit
yeah
because again, the playbook has already been out there. Like, we don't got to reinvent the wheel. We just got to remember that the wheel rolls.
Yeah. So, real quick, and because I know we're about
Yes.
to wrap up, but there was a reply to me in that chat, and this gentleman said, "The fact is that over time, Republicans have been steadfast in their commitment to exactly what we have today. Democrats they waste time and energy arguing amongst themselves. Under normal democratic system, there would
Yes.
be a healthy, but as long as of
Hmm.
two, as one of two major parties embrace oh my gosh."
Authoritarianism.
Authoritarianism over constitutional democracy, we will be in crisis. I have long argued and against accepted dogma that America does not need a conservative party. In fact, conservatism has been attacking and impeding progress from the very start. The
Hmm.
Republican Party needs to go away, and then the Democratic Party should cleave into a progressive party and a moderate party. But that will never happen unless we can string together sustained wins at the ballot box. I get that youth is impatient. That comes with not being around long enough to have a real historical perspective. But it took
Hmm.
Republicans 50 years to get here. Anyone who thinks we're going to turn this ship around by simply replacing older representatives with new blood is simply being naive. We need both pragmatism and passion. I mean, I disagree because look, the youth or your age has nothing to do with historical perspective. You could be 10 years old and pick up a history like you can understand history. Yes, there comes wisdom with growing up,
Hmm.
but I think that
Well, first of all, thank you for the comment.
yes. Well, this is yeah. So, anyways, I don't know. Like, I just think that impatience is good right now. There's not a time to
Yes,
be patient.
as what did Obama say? We had to move with the urgency of now. Um,
I think it was Martin Luther King that he liked to quote, but
oh,
yes,
okay,
yes,
okay, sorry. Well,
Junior.
Martin Luther King. But no, I get what that person's saying. I get because again, we I do believe we have an overt fascist party, and then we have a neoliberal party that does have honestly a conservative party, kind of a stopgap, an emergency brake. Then there is this progressive wing that is not represented, that is usually silenced. I've said this before on this show that the idea that I can be in the same quote unquote party as Joe Manchin and John Fetterman means that I can only go as far as Joe Manchin and John Fetterman. I can only get as much freedom as John Fetterman will allow me to have. I can only get as much, clean air, food, and water as John Fetterman will allow us to have. Now, is that a system that I should just love and champion and be super happy and click on my heels for? Absolutely not.
Mm.
But this is why the quote unquote democratic infighting, it must continue on. But the thing, the allure that fascists have is they say, look at the other side. They have to talk to each other. They have to negotiate. They have to compromise. On our side, we do not. It is a pure power play. We're gonna run a full Boston on them. We are gonna make sure that whenever we get power, we will wield it 6 months in. Look. They said it'll be generations to fix this shit. We're only 6 months in. We got 3.5 years left. So I get what the person's saying, but in the reality, those that control the levers of the quote unquote second party, the Democratic Party, are also in bed with the same people.
Hmm.
And as anybody that does any sort of social, and some of the person's somewhat well read, and thank you for the comment again, is a very nuanced take, is that the point of the Liberal Party is not to be progressive. The point of the Liberal Party is to ice out any sort of progressive politics that comes in the dual party system. They will not ever embrace again a Mazoura Mamdani, but they will say the most what we are is I don't have any leverage, right? And this is the analogy I'll leave us with because I know we're over time. The Republican Party is like the abusive drunk dad, right? He's coming in, he's slapping mom, he's knocking shit off the shelf, he's punching you. And the Democrats are like the apologetic mother. Oh, he loves you. Don't run away. Stay here. It's okay. He didn't mean it. Doing the work for them. So then dad doesn't have to do anything to actually change himself, whatever the case may be. That is exactly, we are held hostage by cowardice. We're held hostage. So I do agree with, honestly, I agree with that whole comment. You may not, that may sound shocking. I agree with that comment, but like that comment actually aligns with, being able to identify pragmatically what's going on right now, but also still having a vision like these motherfuckers got to go. The Republican Party got to go because that is a authoritarian movement. But if the Democratic leadership is saying, my friends across the aisle, God bless you, you're a good man, you're better than this, motherfuckers like that got to go too.
Yeah, well, exactly, and the ones that are dying in office
And
repeatedly because
right.
it,
And then
it's
when you're young and progressive like Jasmine Crockett, then you have a fascist like Greg Abbott trying to gerrymander you out.
yeah, especially the whole like it's my time, like
It's my turn.
it's my turn thing because you're the oldest and
Hillary,
you've
it's her
been
turn.
serving forever, like that's got to go. You need
Joe Biden, it's his
the
turn.
right leaders for the moment. I'm not saying like every young person that all of a sudden is going to be running is like the right
They're
person,
not going to run.
but I think that they have to not only be embraced and waiting for, again, kind of waiting for these young people to come to the Democratic Party, that you have to go out and recruit them, and even in places of like these people, some of the probably the best talent and the best leaders, really, the people that can change the world are probably not even thinking about running for office and running for
I mean,
politics.
Mark. I mean, we have a bevy of people. This is why I go back to our ancestors. They weren't politicians. Martin Luther King wasn't a politician. Malcolm X was a politician. James Baldwin wasn't. Toni Morrison wasn't a politician. Fred Hampton wasn't a politician. No one was voting for these people, right? They ascended to leadership in their communities by doing the work. White people don't have that because these systems were built for them. But now that the systems are attacking them too, even in reality, this project was always against the working class from day one.
Right.
Again, our contract, aka the Constitution, was built for wealthy landowning white men, right? So it was even against the poor white men who were working in the fields and overseeing Negroes, right? So like, it was against them too.
Mm-hmm.
So like until people can realize that it is not about left versus right, it is a top versus down, and it is about a 1%, and we have to put aside our biases or unlearn them. That'd be the best case scenario. But something Bill Clinton said when he was running, it's better to be strong and wrong than weak and right. Now in reality, the best case scenario is to be strong and right, right? That's where we want to be. But he has a good point. Be strong and wrong.
Yeah.
But we could be strong and right. Sorry.
Yeah, but just for like it's real quick, like Mamdani and him talking about the community owned grocery store, right? Like, I mean, at this point, why not try it? I mean, they're out here trying to put out what 100,000, 80,000 ICE agents on the street and create concentration camps, right, and kill people and throw them into alligators and throw them into other continents. And Pierre, he wants to make a community grocery store, and that's a bridge too far. That's radical. That's way too radical, right? You can rip people out the streets and.
If you're upset about free buses or cheap grocery prices, and you think that's the end of society, you probably need to get therapy and realize that if that's what's having you shaking in your boots and afraid, that this system is unsustainable.
Yeah, that's you don't want your text. Go ahead, sorry.
And on top of that, there's places like in the West, like North and South Dakota and other places that have community owned or community ran liquor stores. And they have, if you check the ratings on them shits got like 4.5 stars. People love it because it regulates the prices. They have really good customer service. There's good jobs, great, nice people that work there. Like this shit happens in Minnesota. I think is another good example of that. Community run liquor stores. It happens, right? Like so. They want you to not to disbelieve. They want you to think it is so crazy to help people. But in reality, what is the point of the government? The point of the government is to take care of its citizens. But we have been so conditioned to be to malign the words like socialism and communism to the fact that people are willing to die to make sure billionaires get tax breaks. And that is something we got to break the back of.
Amen. So that was I enjoyed tonight.
Yeah. It's supposed to be 45 minutes. Double that. Double your pleasure. Double your fun. Ramen Payron, double midgum.
That's okay. I like how the conversations, sometimes a little bit more than the current events, if you will, and especially trying to keep up with all the shit spouting out real time. Right now,
at a certain point, I'd be like, whatever happens.
I'm already gonna look at Instagram and be like, oh well.
Trump. Well, I know one thing. We didn't get the headline.
What was the headline?
I said we haven't gotten the headline yet.
Oh.
We all know what the headline is out there in Radio Land.
Yes.
Whenever we get that headline, we'll all be like, woo.
Christmas morning.
And I hope it's a Friday so we can enjoy the whole long weekend and celebrate all weekend. All right, folks, thank you for listening. I am your co-host, Payron Baxter.
I'm your co-host, Ram Sandoval. Thanks for listening tonight. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow. Don't forget to, if you're in Union County,
sign up, get involved.
Committees, and otherwise we will see you maybe Thursday, maybe Sunday.
I won't be here Sunday, something like that. Either way, folks, you will hear from us again. If you have us on your podcast updates, please hit that little bell so you can get notified of our new episodes. And we will make sure you hear the hotness from Payron, Ram, and RC, who's in absentia. But we will make sure we get this job done for you all. And thanks for listening to Radical Roots. And we will see